again, and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I am Michelle Holden, and this is Abstract Art Journaling number 12. And I've called it Exploring Value and Shape because of the different things that happen on this page. And I am intentionally trying to pay a little bit more attention and slow down my process this time. Just take my time. So there might be a few more pauses than usual, but this is about 20 minutes, this video. And as you can see on this page, which is my 11 by 14 mixed media from Canson, I've pre-gessoed it, and now I was sealing the edges where the tape meets, the edges of the tape, just to prevent any bleeding going out to the edge. And I know the previous pages, sometimes I haven't even put tape on the edge, but that's why this is a journal. There's no rules. They're only your rules. So I've decided to start with some graphite marks, and I'm feeling that these are still really not my marks. So I really want to keep exploring that. I've seen and probably I'm emulating what I'm liking in another artist's work, but that comes over time. So just giving that a notice now and paying attention will definitely help me in the future. So this is the black china marker, the waxy pencil, and right now I'm just thinking differences, thicker, thin, and I'm just beginning to, I think my collage papers are just on the left of my scissors there. And I will leave the names of the paints that I use as a subscriber has requested. They're thick paints. There's my usual stamp cardboard. There they are there. Liquitex, just basic. It says it's turquoise. It's the most beautiful blue I've ever used. So in these next pages, I'm going to use that turquoise as the base, and I'm going to add different blues, blacks to it. And I'm going to try to simplify my palette. This is simplified enough, but even more, so I can focus on subtlety, and just value, and maybe explore edges, differences in edges, soft, hard-edged, etc., because I'm trying to create a feeling in the atmosphere of different layers. So as I am adding a little black, and I've watered it down, just learning from the previous page. I ended up, if you watched the previous video, I had some really nice areas going, and I just ended up covering them with some black. You know, it's just part of the whole process. But knowing that, and I can go back and watch the video, I have a record of it, and this is why it's important to record any pertinent stages of your process when you just stop and just look what's in front of you. And just with your phone, you can keep a file on a particular type of thing, your abstracts or interesting shapes, and you can categorize these things, and it only takes a minute. I've chosen to create this YouTube channel and go from there, which I'm really glad I did, and I'm totally over 1,700 subscribers, so thank you very much, everybody, and I hope you keep on watching, and I plan to keep providing you with some good content as I evolve as an artist myself. So there's that beautiful turquoise. I decided to keep it as a very transparent layer, and here I'm lifting off some more, and I'm using, what is that, newsprint paper, real inexpensive paper for your blotting. And here's this, what is it called again? It's a tracing paper, but I know there's different types of tracing paper. This is the one with the more waxy surface. I'm really liking this. And the possibilities here were a few, but I do like, now that I see where I've placed this piece, I wouldn't have minded a little higher, but it's still, it extends the turquoise section being the widest, and maybe what I end up doing is the differences in thirds here. So we'll just keep on watching. And I've got this aluminum painting tool, which is different from probably what you can find in the US. Our materials are different. Some are similar, some are not. So what I was trying to go here for this particular color is that old, it's a patina kind of blue. Now I sort of got it here, but I wasn't happy with the line because I had too much paint on my brush and it bled through. So I end up just fixing that with a J cloth. And here I keep putting another layer on top until I get more closer to blue. I didn't like the high contrast between the yellow oxide and that turquoise. And I'm beginning to like greens a little bit more as I'm using the simpler palettes. And what I'm planning to do is seeing how far I can push the values of this combination of a palette. So right there you can see I let that layer dry, and I've added the Titan buff in the upper corner, a little bit more turquoise all the way down, and I may have just skipped a little part of the video, forgot to push the record button, but it was very small. So here's some more of that dot paper, but I'm really liking this interesting shape. The curve, and it's like an L armature part, and I like how it wrapped around the black shape. And now this piece, so now I'm responding to what's happening. The dark value here looks really good. And I'm just trying to find, yes, leaving a little peak of the previous layer peeking out. And that's a really good idea. Then your previous layers are still seen, but just in a smaller ratio. So they're really not gone to waste. They're just peeking through, so they're there, even if though they may be subconscious. So I like the black, and I was a little bit more careful here compared to the last video. And so there's the high contrast area of this page, right where that corner of white meets that darkest black. It may or may not stay that way, but as you can see, if you just glance, close your eyes and look at it again, there's where your eye stays. So I do deal with that area as the page progresses. And some more, this is more tracing paper, a little delicate, but I really love the feel. It's so thin, and it really shows the previous layers, excuse me, underneath. So I'm always keeping that in mind and saving those pieces to go over top or slightly overlap. And really liking that lower central area here where I'm placing these horizontal lines. And I really love how if I had some hard edge nearby, those would contrast being natural and more soft edge. So this page has prepared my thinking for the exploration of the next page. So I don't only just respond layer by layer. I'm trying to respond page by page, taking the best things that I like and then moving them on, and hopefully sooner than later I will have a library of layers, techniques that I really, really love that are happening together, and then I will move on to canvas once I discover those combinations of layers. So really liking those lines of black and white over the blue, the horizontal. Now we've got white over black, and I've got overzealous there. But the China marker is so neat. It has a lovely soft texture to it, and it shows up just enough. And I really love horizontal curves, circles. And even though I like what other artists do when they get really busy, I find if you don't relate to the shapes, it just feels like you're someone else's painting. You know, I don't know if you have this issue or that feeling. Please leave me a comment and let me know if the same thing happens to you. So then, really enjoying this. Now I'm getting some soft edges, just using my finger, which are then contrasting, trying to remove that hard edge black, trying to move the eye out of that corner, which is still there. I haven't touched it yet. And you can see at the lower left, I just made some tiny black squares. So far I've got a big white shape with dots on it. It's starting to create this curve that is moving from the upper left-hand corner, and it ends up sloping down, and which then leads your eye off the page. But then I just make a couple of corrections and some really cool things. This is just some kind of marbling paper. I've had it for years, and I just use it from time to time if I'm liking the right tones. And there, perfect. Oh, I don't know if it stays there. Oh, I changed my mind. That's so funny. Okay. Now, looking at it, I would have liked it in that other position just because it breaks up that black shape, but let's just see what happens. So what you might want to do, and what I'm trying to remember to do, is when you're adding a shape or a tone or a different value, and trying to treat the whole page, the whole thing, rather than just focusing on this one little area. And going in 3s or 5s, but I think 3s is great. Oh, there's that beautiful handcrafted paper. So I'm loving these translucent layers, and I just wanted to make sure that was nice and dry before I used my brush, and loving that you can see. So as you can see, this curved shape is starting to develop. Oh, and then I rub some more black on there. But I'm liking that the edges are softer, not harder at this point. So looking around for some little pieces, I'm really needing some neutral, and that text there goes perfect where the Titan buff is because of the related tones and values to it. So that will add to the quiet conversation. So far, the big or the loud conversation is the interesting L or whatever shape you want to call the white with black dots, with this black line coming in through underneath. So now I'm really liking that I'm just pushing back the contrast, and that's another technique that we can use. And gesso is another really good paint for that. I know that other artists also use gesso for their white when they need a really super opaque kind of covering. And in the past, I've overused the gesso, but now I'm learning to use it in just subtle tones. So as I'm painting and looking a little more carefully, trying to be very present as to, okay, not what I want to do, what is happening in front of me, I notice some different shapes developing from the background, from the total layers of the background. So that arc is happening. There's some kind of oval shape, and then you have the vertical turquoise and black lines in the center. So what I'm trying to do is just get the viewer's eye, get the eye moving around. So just, yes, trying to bring the eye over from the left to the right, and it looks like I am done. So this particular page didn't take that long, and of course the tape is much easier to remove because it's previously gessoed, and I have my much sharper X-Acto knife for the trim. And I'm really liking this palette, especially the turquoise and ochre or yellow oxide with black and white. And so sometimes the edges get a little rough, and I really like the clean edges, as some of you have mentioned. So if you're enjoying these videos, please hop on over to the Facebook group. It's a private group, and some artists, creators are starting to share their work. There's some really nice stuff being shared on the Facebook group. And I decided to throw this in and add a little bit more. As you can see, there's that arc that's really coming down. It caught my eye when I thought I was done, and I left that all those layers to dry. So now I'm noticing it's the sharp corner of that Titan buff below the dots, and you could put some soft black over it. I don't know at this point if I decide. Okay, so instead of covering it, I decided to overlap some black just to move the eye over to the right and bring your eye down, over, and around. It works somewhat, but I might have wanted to curve that corner. Anyway, we'll do that in the next video. And I love those acrylic paint markers, the Posco markers. They're awesome. So here I'm showing with my pencil. There's that arc line, very nice. Actually, when I accentuated it, it really brought it out. I don't know if I'll leave that. So I'm still, obviously, I changed my mind, so now I've really accentuated that shape. This is good. I really like this. So now you've got a very large, oh, so now I've messed it up. But since it's gesso, with a clean cloth, it'll wipe up really well. So I just take a few wipes. So now it's almost a big cropped circle or curve happening. And you can imagine this shape going off the page. So I'm liking, it might not be perfect yet, you know, but nothing's perfect, but we're definitely moving in the right direction. I personally didn't quite like that corner, but please leave a comment, see if you liked it, and more to come in the next video.